All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig in a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video as we get ready to head to practice on this Tuesday. And of course, we're brought to you by Pig in a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. And they do run out, so get there early, get some brisket chili, tell them the Krug sent you. We're also brought to you by Claw Daddy Arcades, and we're sounding really good these days because of Claw Daddy Arcades. Thank you, Claw Daddy. And of course, they're a great follow on Instagram at Claw_Daddy_Arcades to find a location near you. They got 2 new locations coming later this year at Capitola Mall and Visalia Mall. Claw Daddy Arcades, family fun entertainment, and we appreciate them as a sponsor of the Krug Show. All right, let's get to the story of the morning. The 49ers are bringing back Nate Sudfeld. That's right, Nate Sudfeld is coming back. The Niners have signed Sudfeld. And, you know, so now it's Brock Purdy as your one. You've got Mac Jones still there. You've got Carter Bradley. And now you have Nate Sudfeld. You also have Curtis Rourke stashed for next year. So what does it all mean? What does it all mean? And, you know, it can mean a lot of things, really. It could mean nothing at all from the standpoint of they could just be trying to do Nate Sudfeld a solid and, you know, kind of help him revive his career. You know, he was a Niner before. They like him. He's a local kid. We'll talk more about his story in a second. But, you know, they may just be doing him a solid by you know, giving him another look and, you know, because they don't know if they're going to. I think there's a very good chance the Niners are going with 2 quarterbacks, Purdy and Jones. And they're going to wind up cutting Carter Bradley. They're going to put him through waivers. He's got a howitzer. There's somebody could pick him up. You know, somebody could have watched him make that throw to Robbie Chosen that Chosen dropped, which was just an absolute dime and a laser. And look at this guy and go, wait a second. This guy can throw the football. So I know Niner fans were ripping Carter Bradley left and right, but I don't think you guys realize how personnel people might look at a Carter Bradley from afar and say, hey, you know what? I wouldn't mind having Carter Bradley. So there's a chance Carter Bradley gets claimed as they put him through waivers. And then what? You know, who's your third string quarterback? Who's your practice squad quarterback? So in that case, maybe it's Nate Sudfeld. So it could be something as basic as that, where they just are looking for insurance to make sure that they have another quarterback in case Carter Bradley, you know, doesn't slip through waivers. Or they also may want to use their 16 roster spots on the practice squad. Maybe they want to use 2 on quarterbacks. Maybe they want to have Carter Bradley and Nate Sudfeld. Maybe they want to have a nice little quarterback competition on their you know, on their practice squad. You know, the Niner quarterback room, it's Purdy, Jones, Bradley, now Sudfeld, with Curtis Rourke stashed on the NFI list, and he's redshirting the year. They're stashing him away to 2026. So that's probably what it is right there. They're probably just hedging on Carter Bradley not, you know, maybe not making it through waivers, and they want to have a quarterback, and so Sudfeld's there. Or they could want 2 quarterbacks on their practice squad. Or the other option is there could have been an injury to Bradley or to Mac Jones. We'll find out later today when we talk to Kyle Shanahan if there's any injury at all or why exactly they brought in Nate Sudfeld. And then, you know, so those are really it. I mean, it's a competition for Carter Bradley, insurance against Carter Bradley getting picked off waivers, the desire to have multiple quarterbacks on your practice squad, which would not be crazy, as valuable as the quarterback position is in today's NFL. You know, possibly there's been an injury, not necessarily to Brock because we saw him, but, you know, we did see Mac Jones dive on the sidelines. He played after that, but who knows? Carter Bradley, I don't remember him taking any big-time hits, but who knows? It's a football game, and sometimes things pop up a day or 2 after when you roll everybody back into the facility. And you're like, hey, how's everybody feel? Suddenly, you know, I got this, I got that. So injuries do come up in the days after the game. So maybe something came up injury-wise. The only other thing that I think it potentially could mean, and this is a long shot, is that, you know, possibly there's a trade market for Mac Jones. And maybe the 49ers, knowing that Brock Purdy's their guy and, you know, seeing that they could go cheaper at quarterback with Sudfeld and Bradley as the backups, maybe somebody wants to trade you Mac Jones, or trade for Mac Jones, I should say. I don't think the 49ers would trade Mac Jones because he's looked really good. He's looked really, really good. But to be honest, Brock Purdy, you know, is an established starter here, and there's probably other places he could go to compete. For example, Indianapolis. You know, Indianapolis just named Daniel Jones their starting quarterback. And, you know, I talked about this about a month ago, and it was really more in the context of, hey, what if Tanner Mordecai beats out Mac Jones? And Mordecai has since been cut, and Jones instead took off. That was a total wrong take by me. I thought Jones in this offense in year one might struggle, and that Mordecai year two in this offense might take off, and that, you know, what if Mordecai literally beat out Jones? Would the Niners consider trading Jones in that situation instead of paying their third-string quarterback $4 million? This is a different scenario now. Now Jones has come in. He's played well. He looks good. He looks like an NFL starter, but he looks so good that it's possible that another team looks at him and says, you know what? We want this guy here as our starter, and we'll give you something to bring him here. So, you know, I bring up the Colts for a lot of reasons. One, they just named Daniel Jones the starter, and who the heck's Daniel Jones? He's like one of the most turnover-prone quarterbacks of his era, you know. And they're obviously done with Anthony Richardson as a starter. If the 49ers wanted to make a deal with the Colts have some intriguing quarterbacks if you wanted to get a quarterback, or you could get a different position. You could get a draft pick or something like that. But, you know, they have Riley Leonard. Riley Leonard's a great athlete. You know, there's some really great characteristics about Riley Leonard. You know, I wouldn't mind seeing Riley Leonard here developing. I don't think he's a level of a quarterback like a starter, but I think he's an interesting athlete. The other guy, though, that is really interesting is Anthony Richardson. And you look at the NFL and how things are going in the NFL, it's like, what do you want out of your number two quarterback? You know, on some level, we know that the 49ers, this regime, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, at some point said, hey, we want a physically dominant quarterback, because they went after a Trey Lance, who they thought was a physically dominant quarterback. They were dreaming the biggest, fastest, strongest, best athlete dream at the quarterback position. They were dreaming we'll get Trey in here. He's 6'3", 240. He's got a big arm, and he'll run, and we'll have these packages, and he'll be this this incredible athlete. And it just didn't work out, right? And why didn't it work out? It didn't work out because Trey's skill set was way undeveloped in some ways, and not nearly as prolific as reported. He didn't have big time speed. He had a good arm, but it wasn't like crazy great. His release was slow. And then all the reading and the footwork, it was just all really crude and raw. He needed time to develop, and still needs time to develop. But he's now having success with the Chargers in kind of a run-heavy scheme where he's throwing it very little, and he's still averaging like 6 yards per attempt. He's not throwing the ball downfield at all. It's everything short around the line of scrimmage. But I bring up Trey because on some level, this regime wanted that great athlete. And here's Anthony Richardson. In a lot of ways, Anthony Richardson is everything athletically that the Niners were hoping Trey Lance would be. He's 6'4", 240. He's got great speed. I mean, legit 4.4 speed, and maybe the biggest arm in the league. I mean, he's just got a big arm, and he's big. He's 6'4", 240, and he can run, and he can take hits. He's physical. He can almost be like a short yardage back. There's a lot of things you could do with Anthony Richardson on the goal line, short yardage, certain packages. I mean, it's thinking outside the box with your backup quarterback, But if Brock is going to be your guy, you know, Mac Jones is never going to play here as a starter. If he wants to go somewhere and compete, you know, Indianapolis might be the spot for him to go compete to be a starter. That's what he wants to be. He wants to be a starter. Where the Niners could take Richardson off their hands and have a dynamic. I mean, the Eagles have Hurts and this tush push, and it really helps them around the goal line. Imagine a souped up goal line package with Anthony Richardson involved one way or another as a runner, as a run-pass option, you know, as just an athlete. We're talking about 6'4", 240 with 4.4 speed. I mean, true, and he's just a howitzer for an arm. So it's thinking outside the box. It's, you know, most likely this Nate Sudfeld thing just means, hey, insurance against Carter Bradley. But it could be that somebody wants Mac Jones, and that somebody could easily be the Colts. And then just letting my mind wander, would you trade Mac Jones for a Riley Leonard and a pick? I might, if Mac really wanted to go. I don't love that trade, but would you trade him for Anthony Richardson? You know what? That's intriguing. That is intriguing because you might have a true difference maker. In some ways, Anthony Richardson's the greatest athlete that's ever played the quarterback position when you factor in size, speed, arm strength. I mean, he is the prototype. And he's getting better. I mean, I just watched him the other day. He's not a bad quarterback. Is he going to beat out Brock Purdy? No, he's not going to beat out Brock Purdy. But you know what? As your number 2 quarterback, and you could use him in special packages, you know, I'd rather run Anthony Richardson up the middle on a, you know, 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 than necessarily put Brock Purdy in harm's way. I'm just saying, if you wanted to think outside the box and think creatively, as think about red zone offense and how to get better at it, man, a guy like Richardson would be incredible. And to me, that's exciting. I'd love to hear your comments. You know, you can rip me if you want in the comments below, but to me, that's exciting. Quickly about Sudfeld. Played at Indiana, 6th-round pick by Washington in 2016. 4 seasons with the Eagles, won a Super Bowl ring as a backup with the Eagles. He's 31. He was a Niner in 2021. The Niners guaranteed him $3 million and then ate the money and cut him to go with Brock Purdy. He's 6'6", 230. He's a Bay Area guy. He's born right here. He was born in Santa Clara. I didn't know that. Nate Sudfeld was born in Santa Clara, and he grew up, I guess, in the Valley. He went to Modesto Christian High School out in Modesto. Was with the Lions most recently, 22 and 23. Career-wise, 67.6% completion, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Hasn't played very much. Only 25 of 37 in the NFL. College-wise, this guy was headed to Arizona, and then they had the coaching change, so he jumped ship and went to Indiana. Had a good career at Indiana. 61 touchdowns, 20 interceptions, completed only 60% of his passes. Big hands, though, 9 and 7/8 hands, almost 10-inch hands. That's a good sign. Not a runner, 4.93 speed. In fact, probably not even as fast as that. That was pre-ACL tear. He tore his ACL in 2023, so he's probably, you know, he's not a runner. He's a pocket passer. He's a 6'6" pocket passer, kind of along the lines of Rourke. Now the Niners will have 2 Indiana quarterbacks. Comes from a very athletic family, by the way. One of 5 kids in his family. He's got 2 brothers, 2 sisters. One of his brothers played football at Nevada. His other brother played football at Brown. One sister played college volleyball. The other one played college basketball. Very athletic family. So Nate Sudfeld is back. Is it competition for Carter Bradley? Is there an injury? Is there a trade coming of Mac Jones? Is it they're going to hold an extra guy in the practice squad? I don't know. But sure enough, it's an interesting move, and he's back with the Niners. All right, I'm going to head to practice. We're going to ask Shanahan about it. We'll do a full recap later. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. Thanks to Clawdaddy Arcades for sponsoring this video. Thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube. How good would Anthony Richardson look in a Niner uniform?